Have you ever felt torn between what you believe you want and the decisions you ultimately make? What if I told you that the key to understanding this conflict lies deeper than your conscious choices? Imagine a world where each choice you make is influenced not just by your desires, but by hidden patterns and beliefs that may be steering your life without your full awareness. Think about it for a moment. You wake up every day with the intention to make decisions that align with your values, aspirations, and faith. Yet somehow, you find yourself repeating the same behaviors and choices that don't serve you well or lead you toward your true purpose. Is it possible that there is more at play than just your conscious assertions of free will? What if I told you that we genuinely have free will, but it often operates within the confines of subconscious patterns we haven't fully acknowledged? This beckons us to engage in deep self-reflection and introspection, seeking to uncover the influences that shape our choices. The truth is, while we believe we are exercising free will, our decisions are frequently commanded by these ingrained subconscious programs. What does this mean for us in our spiritual journey? It brings us to the crucial understanding that truly using our free will requires knowing ourselves deeply. It necessitates an exploration of our minds and hearts, examining the beliefs that limit us and engaging in a transformative dialogue with God's teachings. We must be vigilant about the sources of our beliefs. Particularly, we should align with pure divine principles rather than those tainted by false prophets, aiming to instill anger, fear, guilt, or shame within us. This leads us to a critical realization. Our emotional states can serve as indicators, revealing whether we are aligned with God's truth or being misled. By recognizing our patterns and understanding our limiting beliefs, we can reclaim our free will in a way that reflects God's intentions for our lives. In the next few moments, we will explore the significance of understanding how our subconscious mind operates, how we can identify these limiting beliefs, and how aligning our choices with God's pure teachings can help us live more fulfilled lives. You will discover practical strategies to gain insight into your decision-making processes and reclaim your autonomy in a meaningful way. I promise that staying with us until the end of this video will provide you with transformative tools to better navigate your spiritual journey, empowering you to making decisions that reflect your true self and God's divine design. Before we dive into this topic, I encourage you to comment below with the phrase, "reclaiming my will." This not only signifies your commitment to understanding and exercising your free will, but also fosters a supportive community of viewers on a similar journey. Remember to like this video, as your engagement helps us spread this vital message to others who need guidance on their spiritual paths. In a world filled with distractions, it's important to recognize the unique power of your choices and the influence they have on your life's journey. Many people rely on this content for spiritual support, particularly those who lack a nearby community to help illuminate these important truths. Your active participation creates a nurturing environment where believers can come together to reflect, learn, and grow. As we embark on this journey of understanding free will, keep in mind that the second to last lesson could be pivotal in unlocking a blessing for your life. It may offer insights that resonate deep within your spirit and help transform how you perceive and exercise your choices. Now let's dive into the study and begin this enlightening exploration of how to reclaim your free will and align it with God's pure teachings. The study starts now. To truly comprehend how to use our free will correctly, we first must delve into the complexities of the subconscious mind. This vast and often elusive aspect of our psyche significantly influences our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. While we may consciously desire to make choices that align with our faith and aspirations, it is the ingrained patterns of our subconscious mind that often dictate our responses, sometimes leading us astray from God's intended path. The subconscious mind functions like a storehouse for our beliefs, memories, and experiences, many of which are formed by our upbringing, societal influences, and past hurts. These ingrained beliefs can create subconscious programs that run in the background of our thoughts and decision-making processes, impacting how we perceive ourselves, others, and the world around us. Consequently, we may believe we are exercising our free will, but in reality, we're often following the scripts written long ago by these subconscious programs. This reality highlights the importance of self-awareness in our spiritual journey. The Apostle Paul urges us to be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Romans 12:2. This transformation begins with identifying the beliefs and patterns that no longer serve us. To reclaim our free will and align with God's purpose, we must actively engage in introspection and meditation on His Word. Only when we identify and challenge these limiting beliefs can we step into the abundant life that Christ promises. In the Gospels, Jesus often addressed individuals who struggled with their own subconscious limitations. Take, for example, the story of the woman caught in adultery, John 8:1-11. When Jesus told her, "Neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on sin no more," He offered her not just forgiveness, but a chance to redefine her identity. In this moment, the woman had the opportunity to break free from the labels that society had placed upon her, allowing her to access a life aligned with God's truth rather than the shame that had engulfed her. This narrative serves as a poignant reminder that God's voice often calls us away from condemning beliefs and empowers us to embrace lives of purpose and authenticity. Just as He encouraged the woman to move forward without her past defining her, God invites each of us to release our limiting beliefs and embrace the transformative power of His love. Moreover, the bond between free will and emotion cannot be overstated. The emotional reactions we experience in response to decisions can offer critical insights into whether we are acting from a place of divine guidance or subconscious programming. When navigating choices, notice how each path makes you feel. Are you filled with fear or anxiety, or do you experience joy and peace? These feelings are essential indicators of alignment with God's purpose or with your internal struggles. Consequently, we must also be diligent in discerning the sources of our feelings. Not all emotions stem from God's voice. Some may arise from false teachings or cultural expectations that can cloud our understanding of His truth. There are countless voices vying for our attention, including those that instill feelings of anger, guilt, fear, and shame, often propagated by false prophets or societal norms that distort our connection with God. To navigate this landscape successfully, we are called to ground ourselves in God's Word. Immerse yourself in Scripture that reinforces your identity as a beloved child of God, created with purpose. Ephesians 2:10. Regularly practicing Scripture meditation allows us to identify the currents of thought that need re-examination and alignment. As we fill our minds with God's promises, we create space for His truth to overwrite the false narratives that have held us back. In this journey of discernment and self-discovery, seek opportunities for prayer and reflection. Ask God for clarity regarding any subconscious beliefs that may be hindering your use of free will. Invite Him to shed light on areas of fear or doubt, enabling you to break free from their hold. As we conclude this section, it becomes clear that understanding the dynamics of our subconscious is essential as we access the bigger plan God has for us. By embracing self-awareness and aligning our choices with God's truth, we can reclaim our free will and step confidently into our divine purpose. In our next section, we will explore how proactive steps towards self-awareness lead to the fulfillment of God's plan. Prepare your heart to embrace the insights that will deepen your understanding and strengthen your connection with God's leading in your life. As we delve deeper into the concept of using our free will correctly, we must explore the journey of self-discovery, which is crucial for recognizing the path God has for each of us. It is through understanding ourselves, our thoughts, feelings, and motivations that we can truly navigate our divine purpose. In a world filled with distractions and mixed messages, knowing your true self allows you to discern God's voice amidst the noise. The Bible provides numerous examples of individuals who undertook profound journeys of self-discovery in search of God's will. One striking example is King David. Before ascending to the throne, David spent years in obscurity as a shepherd, during which time he learned valuable lessons about dependence on God. His time in the fields was not only a preparation for kingship, but also a period of deep self-reflection and communion with God. David's Psalms express his heartfelt struggles, joys, and aspirations. In Psalm 139, 23, 24, he invites God to examine his heart. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. This plea for self-examination signifies a trust in God's guidance and a desire to align his life with divine purpose. It's an essential model for us today. Inviting God into our self-discovery process allows us to confront our limiting beliefs and acknowledge the areas that need his light. Through this example, it becomes evident that self-discovery is not a selfish endeavor. Instead, it is a spiritual discipline that enhances our ability to hear God's leading. When we actively seek to understand the motivations behind our desires and decisions, we open ourselves to God's transformative power. Consider this. How often do we allow external influences, societal expectations, fear of judgment, or the opinions of others to shape our understanding of who we are? Just as Jesus rebuked Peter when he tried to deter him from fulfilling his mission, Matthew 16:23, we too must be vigilant against voices that distract us from God's purpose. By tuning out external noise and tuning into God's truth, we can begin to clarify our passions and desires. Recognizing your deepest desires is instrumental in accessing the larger plan God has for you. As you engage in self-reflection, ask yourself, what truly ignites my spirit? What kind of life brings me joy and fulfillment in serving others? These questions can lead you to discover the divine seeds planted within you, pressing you to act on them consciously. Once you uncover these desires, the next step is to take actionable steps toward them consistently. Establish routines that honor your passions, whether through volunteering, creative projects, or contributing to meaningful causes that resonate with your core values. Each action you take in alignment with your desires propels you further into God's plan for your life, reinforcing your connection to his divine purpose. Moreover, don't hesitate to seek the counsel of those whose faith you admire. Engaging in open discussions and prayer with trusted friends or mentors can provide additional clarity and reaffirmation, guiding you toward recognizing the fulfillment of your God-given calling. It is essential to maintain awareness of your emotional state as you navigate this journey. As you pursue your deepest desires, ask yourself if you feel a rising sense of peace and excitement. God's plans will invoke feelings of joy and alignment with his nature, not anxiety or fear. If you find yourself struggling with self-doubt or confusion, it may be time to pause and seek God's guidance through prayer. Throughout this journey of self-discovery, remember that being patient with yourself is crucial. Growth takes time, and God is continually shaping and refining his purposes in your life. Allow yourself grace as you navigate this process, and trust that even in the moments of uncertainty, God is unfolding a beautiful plan tailored just for you. In conclusion, The journey of self-discovery is intimately tied to recognizing and accessing the bigger plan God has for you. By inviting God into the process, honestly assessing your thoughts and emotions, and pursuing the passions igniting your spirit, you will sharpen your ability to hear His voice and align with His divine purpose. As we transition to the next section, prepare to explore more compelling biblical narratives of individuals who courageously embraced their purpose and acted in faith. Their experiences will further illuminate the path of accessing God's larger plan for your life. As we advance in our exploration of how to access the bigger plan God has for you, we turn to the inspiring story of Mary, the mother of Jesus. As recounted in Luke 1:26-38, Mary's response to God's calling is a profound testament to the power of obedience and humility in fulfilling divine purpose. Her journey teaches us how surrendering to God's will can open doors to extraordinary plans beyond our expectations. The narrative begins with the angel Gabriel sent by God to Nazareth, bringing astonishing news to Mary. "Greetings, O favored one, the Lord is with you." Luke 1:28. This message encompasses profound themes, God's favor and presence in Mary's life. However, Mary's initial reaction is one of wonder and confusion. The angel reassures her, explaining that she will conceive by the Holy Spirit and bear a son named Jesus. This call comes with monumental implications for Mary. She is to become the mother of the Messiah. The weight of this announcement carries immense significance, not only for her life, but for the entirety of humanity. Imagine the myriad of thoughts and feelings racing through her mind. The fear of the unknown, the challenges she would face, and the societal repercussions of an unwed mother in her culture. Yet, amid this whirlwind, what stands out is her remarkable openness to God's plan. Mary responds with the words that echo through history, "Behold, I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word." Luke 1:38. This declaration is not just an acceptance of her divine role. It is an assertion of her faith in God's goodness and plan for her life. In saying yes to God, she exemplifies a posture of humility and submission that invites us to consider our responses to God's call in our lives. Mary's willingness to embrace her purpose teaches us that accessing God's bigger plan often involves stepping into the unknown and trusting His guidance. When God prompts us to act on our desires or passions like Mary, we may be filled with apprehension. However, recognizing that His plans are crafted in love and designed for our good can help us navigate feelings of doubt or fear. Reflect on this. How do you respond when you sense God calling you to step outside of your comfort zone? Are you open to exploring new paths, even when they seem daunting? Like Mary, expressing humility and a willingness to serve opens your heart to God's voice, allowing His plans to unfold in your life. Mary also serves as a beautiful example of how divine purpose often strengthens through community. After receiving the angel's message, she goes to visit her cousin Elizabeth, who is also expecting a child, John the Baptist. This visit further affirms the call on her life, and the moment they meet leads to an overflow of joy and recognition of God's faithfulness. Elizabeth proclaims, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb." Luke 1:42. This supportive connection illustrates the power of community in affirming God's purpose. Surrounding ourselves with fellow believers who uplift and encourage us fosters an environment conducive to hearing God's voice. These relationships serve as reminders of the divine potential within us. After her encounter with Elizabeth, Mary praises God in what is known as the Magnificat, celebrated as a powerful hymn of praise. Her song not only reveals her deep faith, but also underscores the reality that embracing your purpose leads to joyfulness and gratitude. When we align with God's calling, we can't help but express our thankfulness for His guidance and provision. As you navigate your journey to uncover the bigger plan God has for you, recognize the importance of listening with a humble heart. Invite God into your life, praying for clarity and understanding of His purpose. Seek out community members who can provide support and encouragement on your journey, just as Mary did with Elizabeth. In conclusion, the story of Mary emphasizes the transformative power of saying yes to God's calling. It teaches us that trusting Him can lead to extraordinary outcomes and incredible blessings. As we prepare for the next section, remember that your willingness to embrace God's purpose enables you to connect with His divine plan. Open your heart, listen for His voice, and be ready to act in faith. Such a commitment will lead you to a fulfilling life aligned with His incredible story. To further understand how to access the bigger plan God has for you, let us examine the remarkable account of the healing of the paralytic, found in Mark 2:1-12. This story reveals the profound impact of faith and the importance of community. In unlocking God's blessings and guidance, it exemplifies how determined actions can lead to divine intervention in our lives, illuminating the path toward our God-given purposes. In this narrative, Jesus returns to Capernaum and quickly gains popularity as a teacher and healer. When news spreads about His presence, a crowd gathers, filling the house where He is speaking. Among those who gather are 4 friends who bring a paralyzed man to Jesus, desperate for healing. However, the large crowd obstructs their path, leaving them to face an obstacle that could easily deter their intentions. Rather than give up, these friends demonstrate extraordinary determination and creativity. They decide to take the paralytic up to the roof, where they make an opening and lower him down before Jesus. This bold act of faith illustrates a critical truth. When you are called to pursue your purpose, the commitment and courage of those around you can significantly enhance your journey. Their willingness to act in faith not only expresses their belief in Jesus' healing power, but also reflects genuine love and concern for their friend. As the paralytic is lowered before Jesus, the atmosphere is thick with expectation. Similarly, consider the moments in your life when you sought help or healing. Think about how your community rallied around you, supporting you in faith. These experiences remind us of the importance of having reliable friends who encourage us to pursue our purpose and connect with God's restoring grace. When Jesus sees the faith of the paralytic and his friends, He responds with compassion, declaring, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Mark 2:5. This statement highlights the dual nature of healing, both spiritual and physical. Jesus recognizes that our deepest needs often go beyond physical ailments. He addresses the condition of the heart, restoring spiritual wholeness before commanding the paralytic to arise and walk. In discerning God's voice, there's an essential lesson here. Faith aligns us with God's purpose. It operates from a place of belief and trust, allowing divine miracles to unfold. The response from the religious leaders present who challenge Jesus' authority to forgive sins serves as a timely reminder to guard against skepticism that can cloud our ability to hear God's whispers. When we embrace faith, we open ourselves to the fullness of what God desires to do within and through us. Furthermore, the act of forgiveness and subsequent healing illustrates that our relationship with God is foundational to fulfilling His purpose. To access the bigger plan God has for us, we must continually seek integrity in our hearts, allowing God's love to cleanse and restore us. We can ask ourselves, what are the burdens or sins that might be paralyzing our spiritual growth? How can we seek forgiveness and healing in these areas? The friends' relentless determination and faith also serve as a call to action for us as a community. Together, we can support one another in pursuing God's plans, encouraging each other through prayer, shared experiences, and acts of love. When we gather in faith, we create an environment where God's presence can work powerfully, unlocking potential for many to step into their divine purposes. In summary, the story of the healing of the paralytic emphasizes the importance of faith in action and the role of community in accessing God's larger plan. As you reflect on this account, consider how your faith and the support of those around you can serve as catalysts for personal and collective growth. As we prepare to transition into the next section, let the healing of the paralytic inspire you to surround yourself with supportive individuals who encourage you to pursue what ignites your heart. Recognize that together, through faith and action, you can access the beautiful plans that God has for each of you. As we journey through understanding how to access the bigger plan God has for you, let's examine the powerful story of Zacchaeus. Found in Luke 19:1-10, Zacchaeus' encounter with Jesus is a compelling illustration of how divine love can lead to transformation and purpose. This narrative serves as a reminder that embracing the call to know God deeply can lead to a radical redefinition of our lives and priorities. Zacchaeus, a chief tax collector in Jericho, was a man of wealth, but also a figure despised by his community. Tax collectors were known for their corruption. They often exploited their own people for personal gain. Though he held significant status, Zacchaeus experienced a deep sense of isolation and emptiness, an indicator that wealth does not equate to fulfillment. His story poses important questions. How often do we pursue success or wealth only to feel unfulfilled? What desires echo in our hearts, prompting us to seek something greater? When Jesus arrives in Jericho, the crowds flock to see him. Zacchaeus, being short in stature, realizes he cannot see over the masses. Driven by curiosity and the desire for connection, he climbs a sycamore tree to catch a glimpse of Jesus as he passes by. This act is a beautiful expression of his determination. It signifies his willingness to overcome obstacles to seek Christ. The moment Jesus reaches the spot where Zacchaeus is perched, he looks up and says, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." Luke 19:5. This encounter is transformational because it reflects Jesus' heart. For inclusion and redemption, Jesus recognizes Zacchaeus not as an outcast, but as a beloved child of God deserving of love, grace, and a second chance. For Zacchaeus, this moment transforms everything. Overjoyed, he welcomes Jesus into his home, indicating that when we respond to God's call, transformation begins. This signifies an important principle. Accepting God's love opens the door to change and alignment with his purpose. As the story progresses, we see the incredible impact of this encounter. While Jesus is with Zacchaeus, the people around them grumble, stating he has gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner. Luke 19:7. This reaction reflects a common societal trend: judgment against those who do not conform to expectations of worthiness. Yet, Jesus' actions defy norms. By choosing to dine with a tax collector, he highlights that God's love transcends societal barriers, inviting everyone into a relationship with him. Zacchaeus responds to this transformative love, stating, "Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold." Luke 19:8. His willingness to change and make amends illustrates that true encounters with Jesus generate authentic transformation. It demonstrates the reality that accepting God's grace compels us to live differently, aligning our actions with his principles. This story teaches us how following what ignites us, those deep-seated passions for justice and love, can lead us to a heart posture that seeks restoration and purpose. When we allow God to guide our hearts, we find ourselves transformed, allowing us to positively impact those around us. Reflect on this. What areas in your life need restoration? What steps can you take to align your actions with the loving principles of God? Moreover, Zacchaeus' experience emphasizes the importance of community, both the support it provides and the challenge it presents. When Jesus enters his life, he invites not only personal transformation, but a re-evaluation of Zacchaeus' relationships with others. By publicly committing to give back, Zacchaeus embodies the essence of redemption within his community, emphasizing that accessing God's purpose brings renewal not just to ourselves, but also to those around us. As we finish this section, let Zacchaeus' journey inspire you to embrace the transformative power of Jesus' love. Recognize that each encounter with God invites you to a higher purpose and the opportunity to affect change in your community. Reflect on your own life and consider how you can take practical steps toward restoration and purpose, aligning your actions with the divine love and grace God offers. In our next section, we will continue to explore other biblical figures whose transformative encounters led them to discover deeper meanings in their lives and fulfilling their God-given purposes. With each story, we gather further insights into accessing the bigger plan God has uniquely designed for each of us. As we pursue a deeper understanding of how to access the bigger plan God has for you, let's reflect on the inspiring story of the woman with the issue of blood, found in Mark 5:25-34. This profound narrative illustrates the courage it takes to pursue healing and transformation, highlighting how faith in Jesus can lead to a powerful sense of purpose and identity. In the story, we encounter a woman who has suffered from a persistent bleeding ailment for 12 long years. Consider her plight for a moment. Not only is she facing physical suffering, but her condition also renders her ceremonially unclean, isolating her from society and religious gatherings. In those days, it likely felt as if her identity was consumed by her pain, limiting her interactions and opportunities. Yet, amidst her suffering, the woman hears about Jesus, a healer who offers hope to the broken. This information ignites a spark of desire within her heart. She believes that simply touching Jesus' garment can bring her healing. If I touch even his garments, I will be made well. Mark 5:28. Her determination to seek Jesus despite societal barriers is a pivotal example of how to pursue God's calling fervently. When she finally encounters Jesus amidst a massive crowd, a palpable tension builds. She knows that reaching out is risky. In doing so, she risks public humiliation and further isolation should she be discovered. However, driven by desperation and faith, she bravely presses through the throng, embodying the profound truth that our greatest difficulties often precede our most transformative moments. As her fingers brush the edge of his robe, something astounding happens. She feels the immediate release of her suffering. Jesus, too, feels the power leave him, and he turns to ask, "Who touched my garments?" Mark 5:30. The question highlights a critical aspect of recognizing God's purpose in our lives. God is always aware of our silent cries for help. Each act of faith does not go unnoticed. Rather, it invites a personal response from him. In this moment, the woman could have hidden in shame from the crowd, but instead, she steps forward, trembling and afraid, declaring what had happened to her. Jesus' response is nothing short of beautiful. "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease." Mark 5:34. This declaration of healing and acceptance reaffirms her identity, not as an outcast, but as a daughter of God who is whole and restored. This poignant interaction teaches us that accessing God's bigger plan for our lives often requires the courage to reach out even when we feel vulnerable. It is through our willingness to expose our wounds and seek healing that we begin to understand our true identities in Him. What areas in your life are you hiding out of fear or shame? God desires for you to come to him with your brokenness, trusting that he will respond with love, grace, and healing. Moreover, the story emphasizes that God often uses our surrendered moments to showcase his glory. When the woman stepped forward to share her experience, she became a testimony of God's healing power. Our lives are similarly meant to radiate the transformative love of Christ, serving as beacons of hope for those who struggle in darkness. The courage to share our struggles can help others find the strength to pursue their healing and purpose. As you reflect on the encounter between Jesus and the woman with the issue of blood, consider how you can incorporate courage into your pursuit of God's purpose. Engage in prayer, asking God to reveal the areas where you may need healing or restoration. Be willing to reach out, whether through faith-based support groups, counseling, or conversations with trusted friends. In closing this section, let the story of the woman with the issue of blood inspire you to approach God with courage and openness. Recognize that your faith is a powerful connector to the divine, leading you toward healing and purpose. By acknowledging your struggles and stepping forward in faith, you position yourself to access the transformative plans God has for you. As we transition into the next section, prepare to explore more biblical figures who exemplified faith and courage in pursuit of their divine purpose. Their stories will further illuminate the paths available for accessing God's bigger plans in your life, encouraging you to step boldly into the abundant life He has in store. As we navigate our understanding of how to access the bigger plan God has for you, let us reflect on the profound story of Abraham, found in Genesis 12:1-4 and throughout Abraham's life in Genesis. Abraham's journey exemplifies how responding to God's call with faith and obedience can lead to the fulfillment of His purpose, transforming not only our own lives, but generations to come. God's calling to Abraham is monumental. He calls him to leave his homeland, his family, and all that is familiar. God promises Abraham that he will become the father of a great nation, saying, "I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great." Genesis 12:2. This command is both adventurous and daunting. It requires Abraham to step out in faith without knowing the full scope of what lies ahead. This brings to light an essential truth about recognizing and accessing God's plan. Often it involves taking leaps of faith into the unknown. Abraham's willingness to leave everything behind illustrates the importance of trusting in God's promises. Imagine the emotions Abraham must have experienced: excitement mixed with fear, anticipation blended with uncertainty. In your own life, can you recall moments when God called you into unfamiliar territories, asking you to trust Him fully? As Abraham embarks on this journey, we see how God's promises unfold through his life. Despite his initial acts of faith, Abraham faces challenges: famine, conflict, and the profound challenge of waiting many years for the son promised to him, Isaac. Through these trials, God continually reassures Abraham, establishing a covenant with him. "Look toward heaven and number the stars. If you are able to number them, so shall your offspring be." Genesis 15:5. Here, we learn the significance of patience and perseverance. God's timing often differs from our own, yet His faithfulness remains unwavering. As you pursue your own purpose, be prepared for periods of waiting, during which your faith in God's promises can be tested. It is in these moments that we must strengthen our resolve and trust that God is working behind the scenes, cultivating our character and preparing us for what is to come. Furthermore, Abraham's story emphasizes the importance of obedience. In Genesis 22, God tests Abraham by asking him to sacrifice his beloved son, Isaac. This seemingly unimaginable request challenges Abraham's faith to its very core. Yet in this highest moment of obedience, Abraham prepares to honor God's command, fully trusting in God's plan, believing that even if Isaac were to be sacrificed, God could raise him from the dead. This level of trust exemplifies the depth of faith required to embrace God's bigger plan. When we are faced with difficult decisions or perceived sacrifices in our own lives, it's essential to cultivate that same level of trust in God. Reflect on your own challenges. Are there areas where God is asking you to surrender your desires, possessions, or preconceived plans? What sacrifices are you holding on to that may be hindering your access to His purpose? As the narrative unfolds, God intervenes, stopping Abraham just before the act of sacrifice. In this dramatic moment, God provides a ram as a substitute, illustrating the concept of divine provision. This not only reaffirms Abraham's faith, but also foreshadows the ultimate sacrifice that would come through Jesus Christ, God's Son, who would die for humanity. As you feel prompted by God's call in your own life, remember that each act of faith and obedience takes you closer to accessing His divine purpose. Your willingness to trust and respond can drive incredible change, not only for yourself, but also for those around you. Additionally, consider the legacy of faith Abraham left behind. As he stepped into God's larger plan, he became the father of nations, with his lineage traced through Isaac, Jacob, and eventually Jesus. Your actions rooted in faith have the potential to influence many generations to come. In conclusion, the story of Abraham encourages us to embrace our God-given purpose with trust and obedience. While the path may require us to venture into the unknown, remember that God is faithful and present every step of the way. As we prepare for the next section, let the example of Abraham inspire you to remain committed to answering God's call in your life, understanding that the journey of faith can lead you to extraordinary fulfillment and a profound connection with His divine plan. As we transition, gather your thoughts about how obedience and faith in God can guide you closer to fulfilling your purpose, a journey filled with trust, learning, and the grace that sustains you along the way. As we delve deeper into understanding how to access the bigger plan God has for you, the story of Job stands as a profound testament to unwavering faith amid trials. Found in the book of Job, this narrative challenges our perspectives on suffering and purpose, while illuminating the remarkable truth that faithfulness can transform our understanding of God's greater plan. Job is introduced to us as a prosperous and righteous man, blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. Job 1:1. He enjoyed a life filled with blessings, a large family, wealth, and a strong reputation in his community. However, his life takes a dramatic turn when Satan challenges Job's loyalty before God, asserting that Job only serves God because of his prosperity. God permits Satan to test Job, setting the stage for an extraordinary narrative of trial, sorrow, and ultimate revelation. In a series of devastating events, Job loses his livestock, servants, and children. He is left in profound grief and confusion as he wrestles with an incomprehensible reality. Here's where Job's story intrigues us. Amidst the pain, he chooses to remain faithful, declaring, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Job 1:21. This response demonstrates a pivotal truth about recognizing God's voice in our suffering. Faith is not merely a reaction to blessings. It can also become an unwavering anchor during the storm. Job's journey encapsulates the struggle of questioning God's purpose amid suffering. As his trials continue, he faces deep despair. His friends, while well-intentioned, offer their interpretations, suggesting that Job's suffering is a result of hidden sin or wrongdoing. These responses serve as a critical lesson about discernment, understanding that not every voice we hear during our struggles reflects God's truth. In your own life, Are there times when you felt isolated in your sorrow, perhaps even receiving well-meaning advice that didn't resonate? This illustrates the need to differentiate between God's voice and the voices that often weigh heavily on us during times of anguish. Throughout Job's dialogues with his friends, he wrestles with understanding God's plan. His raw emotions range from confusion and anger to deep longing for answers. Yet through his declarations and questions, Job ultimately models a crucial aspect of faith, an honest relationship with God. He boldly expresses his despair, recognizing that he longs to approach God directly to plead his case. This is where the power of maintaining an authentic connection with God shines through. When faced with deep suffering or uncertainty, God invites us into dialogue, just as he did with Job. He yearns to hear our cries, to embrace our questions, and to reassure us of his presence, even when our circumstances challenge our understanding. As the narrative unfolds, God finally responds to Job, not through answers to his specific questions, but by revealing the magnitude of his creation and sovereignty. In Job 38, God asks, "Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth?" This rhetorical response emphasizes God's vastness and the reality that, while we may never fully comprehend the reasons behind our suffering, we can trust in his ultimate goodness and wisdom. The conclusion of Job's story serves as reaffirmation of God's faithfulness. After enduring profound trials, Job is restored. His fortunes are doubled, and he experiences renewed blessings, a powerful reminder that God's plans often include restoration and redemption, even after our darkest moments. As you reflect on Job's journey, consider your own trials and struggles. How can you cultivate a deeper sense of faith in the midst of suffering? Are you willing to enter into an honest relationship with God, sharing both your fears and your desires? The story of Job teaches us that accessing the bigger plan God has for us may require enduring seasons of difficulty while maintaining faithfulness and integrity. Consider journaling your journey of faith, documenting your thoughts and prayers during challenging times, and invite God's presence into your struggles. In closing, Job's faithfulness in suffering illustrates that even in our most difficult moments, we can trust in God's greater plan. Each trial can become an opportunity for deeper understanding and a more profound relationship with Him, if we choose to engage rather than retreat. As we transition into our last section, prepare to explore more stories of individuals who embraced their divine purpose amid challenges. Their experiences will continue to inspire you and illuminate the path God has laid out for your life, one filled with faith, purpose, and transformation. As we wrap up our exploration, let's take a moment to reflect on the transformative insights we've discussed. We've established that while we do possess free will, our decisions are often influenced by subconscious patterns that can shape our lives in ways we may not even realize. Understanding this dynamic is crucial to aligning our choices with God's intentions and living authentically according to His purpose. Congratulations on making it through this enlightening session. Your willingness to engage with such a profound topic speaks volumes about your commitment to personal and spiritual growth. Few take the time to examine their free will and how it interacts with their beliefs and subconscious programming, and your dedication to this process is commendable. I invite you to affirm your intention to engage your free will purposefully by commenting, "Embracing my free will." By doing so, you not only affirm your commitment to understanding and utilizing your free will correctly, but you also connect with a community of viewers who share this vital journey. Your interactions encourage others who may be grappling with their choices and seeking divine guidance. Don't forget to like this video. Each like helps amplify this crucial message, making it accessible to those who need to hear about the significance of recognizing their free will. Your engagement plays an instrumental role in spreading these transformative teachings that can lead to true healing and clarity. Many individuals depend on this content for spiritual support, particularly those who may not have a nearby church community to lean on. Your participation helps foster a nurturing environment where people can learn to navigate their spiritual journeys together. Encourage fellow viewers to comment, "Peace in Christ," before we proceed, symbolizing our collective quest for understanding and freedom in Christ. As you reflect on the insights shared today, remember the importance of addressing the subconscious patterns that may hinder your ability to use your free will effectively. Take time to examine your limiting beliefs, those less than helpful programs fed by external influences and false teachings. Align your thoughts and actions with the pure teachings of God, focusing on love, compassion, and truth, rather than fear, anger, guilt, or shame. If you ever feel your prayers aren't being answered or you're uncertain whether you're using your free will rightly, explore the powerful hidden tool located in the description of this video. This resource will guide you on how to invoke God's presence effectively, helping you manifest the clarity and direction needed to make empowered choices. As we conclude, take a moment of quiet reflection. Allow the lessons gleaned today to settle in and offer heartfelt words of gratitude to God for His guidance. This will create an opportunity for connection and peace, providing you with a sense of comfort as you navigate your journey. Thank you for joining us today. May you continue to walk boldly in your faith, using the free will God has given you in ways that align with His perfect design. Listen closely for His voice, act with intention, and embrace the transformative power of love as you direct your life according to God's greater plan. Until next time, remember that you are equipped, loved, and destined for a life filled with purpose in God's grand design.